wonderful window dedicated to St. Edith Stein, another saint who was extremely important for John Paul II. She was, of course, born into a Jewish family. Her mother was very devout, and she took in the Jewish faith as a young girl. By the time she was in her teenage years, she had lost her faith, become a pretty militant atheist. She went to study in Germany in Göttingen under the great philosopher Edmund Husserl, the founder of phenomenology. And she became one of Husserl's greatest students and disciples. She underwent a remarkable conversion just after the First World War. She was staying with friends, and they went out for the night, and she reached for a book to pass the time. She found the autobiography of St. Teresa of Avila. They say she stayed up the entire night, never slept, just read through the book, which is not short. And when she finished, she said simply, "Das ist die Wahrheit." That is the truth. And it precipitated her conversion, or maybe it brought together the strands that had been forming. But soon thereafter, she sought entrance into the Catholic Church. For many years thereafter, though, she worked in a Dominican teachers' college and began to lecture around Germany as a public intellectual, eventually joining the Carmelite order, and so she's in a Carmelite habit there very beautifully. We have 3 Carmelites in this chapel: the Little Flower, St. John of the Cross, and Edith Stein. John Paul II had a very Carmelite soul, very influenced by Carmelite spirituality. She worked on a book, and you see it here in this little image, called the Kreuzeswissenschaft, which means the science of the cross, a study of St. John of the Cross. In fact, she was working on that book when the Nazis came to arrest her. She was arrested as a part of a Nazi campaign after the Bishop of Utrecht had denounced the Nazis. They responded by rounding up any Catholics of a Jewish background. Hence, she was rounded up from her convent. She was brought to Auschwitz, same place where Maximilian Kolbe died. We have her holding there the Star of David with Judah. Of course, she would have worn that symbol at Auschwitz. You see up here now in the top right, the castellated walls of Avila. That's a little homage to Teresa of Avila. On the very top you see an owl, a stylized owl, of course, symbol of wisdom. She's a philosopher. The nurse's cap there on the top left is because during the war she served as a nurse, and by all accounts it kind of brought her from her head down to her heart, if you want. It integrated her life more. Here's the beautiful cathedral at Cologne, because she was received into the Carmel in Cologne. I love the lower scene here. We depict Edith Stein in the outfit she would have worn. We have photographs of this from about the 1920s, when she was in that Dominican teachers' college. On the blackboard it says in German, "Über die Wahrheit," which means about the truth. She translated Aquinas's De Veritate into German, and that would be the rendering of it, "Über die Wahrheit." But a little touch we put in, there's a classroom of people. In the third row we have 2 figures facing each other. On the left is Edmund Husserl, who was her great teacher. On the right is Martin Heidegger, who was also a disciple of Husserl, a colleague of Edith Stein's. Some say the 2 greatest disciples of Husserl were Heidegger and Edith Stein. But what I love there is it's the idea of the church following the Kreuzeswissenschaft, the science of the cross, ought to teach the culture. So we form the culture not just at the popular level, but at the high academic level as well. And she, I think, is a symbol of that, along with being a great martyr of the church.